on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass. I'm working on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass. I'm working on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass.
Welcome to the Under Construction Podcast. Join us as we discuss various topics meant to challenge your current ways of thinking. Tonight, we got a dope conversation for you, but as always, let's introduce the crew. First, we're going to start with KJ, Cordell.
What's up?
AJ. And I'm T-Dub. Tonight's conversation, bad choices and the distinction between mistakes. I think it's going to be interesting. I think we got a interesting kind of conversation for you guys today. So let's just jump right into it. Let's break down the definition, how we're going to define a mistake versus a bad choice.
Key difference that's being shown on Google that everybody will get when you get that overview is going to be that the key difference lies in intent. Mistakes are accidental, while bad decisions are chosen actions, which make accepting responsibility harder for the latter.
Ooh.
That's what Google said.
Easy.
I'm not early. Starting. I'm not coming in that hot.
Nah, we thinking of early.
Nah, not me.
Why is it that we think people confuse the two? A bad choice versus a mistake.
A mistake.
Well, given what I just read, I think it gives you a way out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like if you know that you purposely chose to do something that's negatively impactful, but it would be received by the person that it's done to or the person that receives those actions a little like a smoother landing. If you say it was a mistake, that may be like, take the easy way out.
Take the easy way out.
Yeah.
Listen.
But what if your audience isn't buying what you're selling?
Time for some accountability.
Yeah, and that's where it gets tough, right? If we're now pushing the accountability, like, yeah, come on, man, like we know better. We knew what the consequences of those actions were going to be. So I mean, like, if you could take accountability, I could take that a little bit better. Right. You know what I mean?
How do you know the difference? I think they're so close together. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. But I think a lot of times how I would deter the difference is my emotion. And I think accidents happen when emotion is tied behind it, and bad choices are intentional because it's a choice. You know what I mean? Right. And but also, I mean, everything we do is a choice too. That's kind of so because we had this topic. You guys gave the topic last week, and I was tussling back and forth with it because I'm like, I mean, do I really believe in mistakes? Because everything is a choice.
Okay,
so that's kind of where I was struggling at because I still chose to do it.
Some things can be inadvertent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would think like a mistake would be like let's say we can go like we've all been in relationships before or are currently in them, but like you can hurt someone's feelings
on
accident,
and you didn't mean to do that. Like now depending on how cutting what you're saying or what you do is, that could be like the fine line.
Yeah.
But it could be like you could say something. I don't know. Okay, let's say this. Let's say you were saying something negative about them.
Yep.
But you were like kind of just saying it like they asked for real feedback.
Right.
And you was like, oh, nah, this isn't that great. And then like, is that a mistake?
It's not necessarily a mistake.
They asked for the truth.
So, I mean, I think.
Is that a bad decision to tell the truth?
I think delivery is the mistake, right? I think if you're asking for truth, there's a way that you can deliver whatever message you know what I'm saying, in honesty and truth, right? Absolutely. But I think if you deliver the message and you're not aware of how it's going to land because of how you're saying it, that's the mistake. The mistake isn't telling the truth. The mistake is in the delivery of how it lands, right? Sometimes we have to know our audience. I'm not going to say something to a 7-year-old the same way I say it to another adult, right? Exactly. Because their ability and their capability to process that is going to be very different. You know what I'm saying?
But I think a mistake and a bad decision is basically based off of your awareness. Like your awareness of the situation, your awareness of your surroundings. Like, for instance, all right, we'll talk about real life stuff. People get into car accidents all the time. Some people get into car accidents because they was texting and driving. That's a bad decision. You saw the text come through. You decided, oh, listen, I got to know what's going on, or I decided I got to make this quick text back. I got into a car accident. That was a bad decision. Or a mistake is, whereas like, oh, I thought I could take this left. This was always a one way, and recently they changed it, or it was always, you know what I'm saying? So like, I didn't know that it's no longer a one way, so I'm not looking for that to be a problem until I get into that accident, and now I'm like, oh, dag.
So I pulled it up and I wanted to see what ChatGPT had to say too, because it literally hit what you just said.
Right.
It said a mistake is something you do without knowing better.
Correct.
Or without intending the wrong outcome. But then they said a bad choice is something you do while knowing better.
Yeah.
Or ignoring the wisdom or instruction.
Right. Because that's another thing. So like, you could look at it, if we're going to look at it in a spiritual sense, you could also look at the fact of when somebody told you not to do something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so-and-so, or not even going to spiritual. We don't even go to spiritual yet. But like, so-and-so said, don't go to that party. Like, you got beef with so-and-so. So-and-so down the street. You know so-and-so down the street. Your mans who knows you got beef with him, knows who he's with, says, yo, don't go over there. It's nothing but trouble over there. Type stuff. Like, that's a bad decision to hear the wisdom saying don't go over there and still choose to go over there.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was just in the area and I popped in, like, that was a mistake type stuff. Oh, not necessarily a mistake, but
I mean, but that's just a bad circumstance. But it's definitely a bad decision to go.
Right.
It sucks if you end up there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you end up where
time.
people are.
Yeah.
Because you know people call like the right person for you called for you to go.
Right.
But the wrong person was there for you to be there.
Yeah. There's the rub right there. Yeah.
If I look back over my life and I look at the things that I considered mistakes in my life, the pattern I see is my emotion was behind it. Like even when I said something, if I said something to my wife, my emotion behind it. That's why I would consider it. That's the only validation I have to consider it a mistake was my emotion behind it. You know what I mean?
So are you saying your emotion was wrong, or are you saying your emotion was too? What about?
So my emotion, your emotions are valid. So I'm not saying my emotions were wrong, but my reaction.
Okay.
My reaction to what I did, my emotions made me react in a way that I probably shouldn't have.
Okay.
But a bad choice, I'm doing this. I want to hurt her. So therefore, I'm going to say this. I'm literally thinking about this is what I'm going to say. I didn't have emotion behind it. It had intention behind it. You know what I mean? I think that's how I would decipher it too. You know, like even if me and you got in an argument, I'm like, yo, you stupid. And I said it like, because we're in a heated argument. You know what I mean? That was my emotion. Some people get defensive, right? You know what I mean? And then you say something like, dang, I shouldn't have said that because you really didn't mean it, but that was your way of defense. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, that's kind of a mistake. And then it's like, my brother made a song. Check it out on YouTube. It's called talking about why do we make mistakes? And they're just talking about different things in that song where different situations. And sometimes the whole goal is, though, to learn from our mistakes, you know what I mean? And learn from our bad choices. Either ones we make, how do we learn from those things? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think mistakes can be learned from, right? I think there's a gauge for improvement through a mistake. You know what I mean? But I think a bad choice is something that is rooted in something completely different, right? I think there's like a desire, you know what I'm saying? I think, or there's like, maybe pride, or you're ignoring wisdom. Like somebody can give you some wisdom and be like, yo, that's a jewel. Like don't go over there. I know this is going to be bad for you. If you make the choice to do that, you're ignoring that, right? So the knowledge was given to you, but you chose to do it in spite of having the wisdom. Sometimes you just don't have the wisdom, and that leads to the mistake, right? If we leave right now, it's winter and there's black ice. I don't know where the black ice is, right? Like that's a lack of knowledge, right? Like I don't know, I can't see it. It can't be foretold, right? So that could lead to an accident, right? But that's where I'm coming from with that.
So with the black ice, but the question be, it's always that bad choice to go with it though. How fast was you driving?
Right. That was the bad decision.
Yeah. Did you get to have you been rotating and getting your tires changed?
Very true.
You know what I mean? Like these are the choices that we ignore.
That led up to
that see. You know what I mean? That and then when that mistake happens, it's like maybe I could have prevented slipping, even though I didn't know the black ice was there. Could I have prepared myself if the black ice is there? You know what I mean?
I want to add to that. So like, I think there are bad decisions that lead up to mistakes.
Always or sometimes?
I don't know.
I would say sometimes.
It's probably
sometimes with it.
It's probably sometimes, but I think a lot of the times there's some bad decisions that we made, or knowing. Like, all right, cool. Like to your point, like I'll talk about me. Before I had all my stuff together, like. You know your tires are bald, for instance. You know your brakes need to be fixed. You know the heat doesn't work in your car. Like, you know all these things. You know you need a new battery in your car. Winter comes. So, like, all right, cool. Winter comes, your car dies. Why does your car die? Because your battery died. Why did your battery die? All right, cool. Maybe it died while you were driving. The alternator goes.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Now you're slipping. Now you know your brakes is bad. So now you're not slowing down. You know what I'm saying? Like little stuff. And this was a mistake in the moment because like, all right, cool. If I had known that it was going to happen right then and there, then I would have done something to fix it before. However, I knew prior that there could be an instance.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like there was a couple of bad decisions that we made prior, at least for myself, that I made prior before I was like, oh, dag. Now I'm in a bad spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean more to bad decisions on that. All of the things that you said there are bad decisions, bro. Right? When it comes to not just your safety, it's other people's safety. That's a bad decision. You know what I'm saying? If you know it's winter and you could get stranded and you could be someplace where you can't get back home, bro, that's a bad decision, right? Now there's a lack of accountability, right? And it makes you feel better to say, oh, that was just a mistake. But I think when you have real accountability partners, you'd be like, bro, that was just a bad decision. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I may tell myself, right? I may not be willing to take accountability for that situation and be like, oh, it was a mistake. That's not a mistake, bro. In my opinion, right? That's a list of bad decisions, right? But I think also you have to look at when bad decisions become character defects. You know what I mean? When you've made so many poor decisions, when it's like, man, I can't even trust being around this individual because they make so many poor decisions. It's not safe for me to be around you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I had this instance, I was working a job and I had a training that was out of state. You know what I mean? Somebody volunteered to drive us, you know what I'm saying, to the location. She gets pulled over, you know what I'm saying? No registration, car's not insured, and she got bad plates on the car.
Why'd you volunteer?
That was a bad, you know, I just made a mistake. I didn't think we were going to get pulled over. I'm like, come on. You have multiple people on the side of the road depending on you to at least just have your stuff together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's not a mistake. That's and now that goes into like, I'm like, yo, what is the character of this person? I can't trust you. You know what I'm saying? I can't.
Because everybody has times when there's more month than money.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean?
For sure.
So there's no judgment there. No one's sitting here on a high horse. But the thing is like you knew that when you volunteered.
Right.
So I'm wondering about you when you sign up to put everybody in a shaky situation when nobody asked you to do that.
Very true.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm questioning.
Yeah. And it makes you question everything about that person. Yo, how did you get this job? Like, what are your qualifications? Like, what's your thought process? Can I trust other people when I put you in a situation? Am I going to put you in a leadership position around other people? Right? Like, I can't do any of that. Like your value is at a minimum to me right now.
Because now the integrity is in question. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you put the person in, that's a small example, but when it comes
it's a
to
huge violation of trust.
When it comes to leadership, you can't put somebody in charge of a group that would do something like that to a group. They just showed you in front of them that they wouldn't be able to just say, "Hey, listen, this other thing works out." No, you good.
You're in the camera.
Sorry, guys. Hey, this is what happens when you go live.
Hey, absolutely.
I took the keys from my wife. Sorry, fellas.
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
And speaking of going to the live, man, let's shout out to the chat. If you guys have any examples of bad decisions versus mistakes,
I do got a couple in
things
here
that you've experienced. Let's shout out to the chat.
So my brother, he said, he used a biblical example. David made bad decisions. His leaning from it was repented and didn't continue to what he repented. For my opinion, you can have bad decision and it's a mistake at the same time. All of them are not, but some considered. It depends on the situation, in my opinion. I look at David too, like that was a bad
Bathsheba?
choice. Yes.
Bad decision.
Bad
100%.
decision. Like
100%.
Intention. Bro,
You knew what you was doing.
and he got killed her husband.
Right.
So that was like bad. That ain't no mistake there.
Right,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Doc.
but if you want to think from a biblical perspective, the first thing that popped in my head that would have been considered a bad choice would have been a mistake.
Peter.
Peter.
Yep, Peter,
That's
I'm here.
exactly what I was thinking about
Right.
because for him, he literally denied. He got put on. You know Jesus. He was scared.
Yeah.
But think about it. That brings back the emotion. He was fearful. So when you add the aspect of emotion in it, now
So
there was the mistake.
I
You know
even
what I mean?
change it when I read it. Because I read it differently. Like I didn't read it as Peter was scared. I know a lot of people do. I read it like he wasn't paying attention. Like because Peter was down to fight. My thing about it is the first mistake Peter makes is when he cuts off the dude's ear.
Yep.
It's like that was the first mistake. Like, all right, cool. Jesus is about to get taken away. They're gonna try to murder him. They're gonna try to torture him.
Yep.
I'm down for it. I'm not hearing it. Cuts off his ear. Jesus rebukes him. That was the first mistake.
Yeah.
Because he was like, all right, the intention was I'm trying to protect Jesus.
Yeah.
Like that was his intention. He wasn't trying to do anything that was like outside of what Jesus
Would you say is emotion behind that too?
Of course.
Right?
100%.
Yeah. Like, nah, you ain't about to.
Right. And that's my thought process. But when I read about Peter denying Jesus 3 times, I preached it. I preached it a couple months ago. I look at it as Peter was trying to figure out, how do I get in here to get Jesus out?
Yeah.
Like how can I sneak my way through the crowd to grab Jesus so we can get up out of here?
Yeah.
And then while he's in the midst of that, his focus is solely on saving Jesus. That while he's in the midst of that, people are like, yo, isn't he the one that was with Jesus?
Yep.
And he's like, nah, that's not me. And then he goes around to another corner. Like he goes around to another, like, wasn't he the one wasn't he one of his disciples type stuff? And like, nah, that's not me. Then he goes around to another spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That was my thought process, that he was just unaware of his surroundings, that he wasn't really paying attention to what he was saying.
Yeah. So, when you brought that up, it made me think about the after effect after. How Jesus literally had to go to Peter and restore him because he was beating himself up from the mistakes.
Right.
Let's talk about that part.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Let's talk about the recovery from the mistakes that you make. Some people still are beating themselves up for mistakes that they made, and then some people are still dealing with the bad choices that we made. So let's talk about the after effect of each one. Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Like, some people literally got life in prison because of the bad choices they make. You know what I mean? Like, choices can be...
Yeah.
Even can mistakes be... Yeah, they can be that too. You know what I mean? Like,
I think some people are willing, and let's go back to Peter for a minute, right? Like, I think he was willing to pay the consequences for what he was doing. I think he was emotionally driven, right? I think he was also singularly driven to try and save Jesus, right? So he was willing to do or say whatever it was possible to complete his task, right? So he wasn't really worried about how it looked like. I know that's Peter. I know he's a disciple, and he's denying Jesus. It was about, I'm going to say and do whatever it takes for me to save Jesus, my friend, right?
Exactly.
So he was willing to pay the consequences. Call me what you want, say what you want about me, but I'm going to be on my task.
Yeah.
And so
Right,
I think
right.
that was his singular focus. And I don't think that, you know,
That's when I
he was looking at the after effects of that, right? He was so currently in the moment that he was
Right.
singularly focused, and he was willing to do whatever it took to get to that.
and it doesn't click for him what he does until the rooster crows the third time. Because
Yeah.
that's what Jesus tells him. By the time the rooster crows the third time, you have denied me 3 times in the day.
Well, Dad,
and
what
then he
happened
hears
when
it,
our
and then it
rooster
snaps
crow?
him out. Correct. Right.
You know, like,
For real. So when life catches up to you, you start to sit back. A lot of times it's when we're caught. It's when we get caught in that mistake, to your point that we alluded to earlier. When we get caught in that mistake or caught in that bad decision, when we have to pay the cost, that we recognize and we sit back and look at it like, yo, dag, I knew that was going to happen before I even went over there. Like I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I was going to do this, or this was going to happen if they did or said X, Y, and Z. And I knew I shouldn't have went over there, but I did anyway. And this is where a lot of people stand. And I think the thing about it is we all make mistakes. The Bible says we've all sinned. We've all fallen short of the glory of God. Like it's not just so-and-so who did it. Like everybody's done it.
I'm working on the building. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass. I'm working on the building.